Okay, so a box of mass 20 kilograms is at rest on a rough horizontal floor. All right, coefficient of friction between the box and the floor is 0.3, and the box is subjected to a horizontal force of T newtons. So we're going to draw our force diagram with our box, okay, and we'll obviously make the ground to be horizontal, and we've got then our mass to be 20 kilograms, okay, so our weight will be 20 times G, and then we've got our reaction there, right? And this is subjected to a horizontal force of T newtons, okay, and of course then there's friction, isn't it, okay, opposing the motion, okay, so we'll put that then as FR there, friction, and don't forget of course then put the direction of acceleration there. So we've got our completed then force diagram. We know that mu is 0.3. So it says then in part A, okay, given that T is 65, find the magnitude of the acceleration of the box, okay. Well, first of all, now we're going to look at resolving, right? So we're going to look at resolving in the direction of motion, but also perpendicular to the motion, because, you know, first, you know, if we see, for instance, we resolve vertically, okay, we can see straight away, actually, that R will actually equal 20G. So, okay, because if you think about it vertically, there's no movement, isn't it? This block this box is moving horizontally, so we can say there's no movement vertically. So in a sense, it's in equilibrium, isn't it? Okay. Forces up will equal forces down. So the R going up, the reaction from the ground, will balance the weight of the box, okay? And when you work that out and you calculate it, 20 times 9.8 comes to be 196 newtons, okay? So that's kind of important, knowing the reaction, okay, between the ground and the object, okay, the reaction exerted by the ground on the object, because we're going to use that when it comes to the friction calculation. So if we then think about Newton's second law, okay, in the direction of motion, okay, where we do have movement, right, then of course Newton's second law, force equals mass times acceleration, we're talking about the resultant force, aren't we? So we've got tension going forwards, okay, or this T rather, this force T going forwards, but then there is this resistance of friction, okay, and that will equal to mass times acceleration. And the mass is 20, acceleration is A, okay. So we've got our formula then, and we don't know what acceleration is. That's what we're trying to work out. We know T is 65, so I can put that in there, okay. I don't know what friction is yet, but I'm going to work that out, okay. And so we've got a second equation then. Okay, so if we then think about friction, well, friction will be at its max, won't it? Okay, so the friction value is at max because the object is moving. Okay, in other words, the friction can't be any more than what it is. So therefore, we can say friction is equal to mu R. Okay, so we've got friction to be 0.3 times reaction, which is 196. Okay, so we've used 1 there, haven't we? We've used the value from 1 there. That comes out to be 58.8 newtons. Okay, so if we sub that then into 2, we'll work out what A is. So sub into, okay, so we have 65, take away 58.8 equals 20A, and then you can get A, can't you? So 6.2, that becomes, divide by 20 equals A. So that implies then A will be 0.31 meters per second squared. Okay. Part B then. In part B it says, given that T is 45, find the magnitude of the frictional force. Okay. Well, if T was 45, okay, we need to consider the actual frictional force. Now, if you think about the frictional force, the max friction is 58.8, yeah? So the max friction is equal to 58.8 newtons. Now, if T was equal to 45, then we'd say that T is actually less than the max friction, yeah? So in that case, if T is less than the possible maximum friction, the box is not going to move, okay? So the box will not move, okay? Because the friction will be too strong for it. Friction will be too strong. And the friction will only match the value of T, okay, the force applied to it. So in this case, the friction value will equal whatever T is, which is 45, okay?